All right, first of all, thanks for coming. Always a long day, but glad it's over with. Now we can move forward with the remaining games in our schedule. I'll open up for questions.
David, did you feel you got everything accomplished, 7 trades in the last few weeks, and what you got accomplished today? Did you feel you did everything you needed to do?
We did as much as we could. You always hope for more. I mean, we'd hoped that there was a couple other things we could have got done, but we're pretty confident and happy with what we did get accomplished over the last 2 or 3 weeks. No question.
Was the value there today for anything else you wanted to?
No. There again, we looked at other situations, but no, there wasn't other fits, whether short or long term, that made sense to us. So today we made some small adjustments, and coupled with what we've done over the last, like I said, the last couple of weeks, we're pretty happy with where we are. Now we have to focus on the future.
Dave, I mean, would it have been easy? Was there deals you talked about today you think you could revisit in the summer? Do you think any groundwork was laid, or?
I think maybe a little bit, certain situations, yeah. You get a glimpse into what other teams are thinking in terms of their own situations and what they might be looking at going forward. So yeah, I think that a lot of deals that do get done over time, they're not necessarily the genesis of those deals isn't necessarily a week away. It may have been a year prior or 6 months prior. So yeah, I think that there may be more opportunities for us going forward based on some of the discussions we've had over the last couple of weeks. But that remains to be seen. We'll see how that plays out.
Were there a lot of inquiries about bigger contracts, like with North Forecastle?
I'm not going to get into individual people. Our position hasn't changed. We're looking to build this team into a contender, a competitive group, and we'll make deals with our current players based on accomplishing that goal. So today there weren't deals that were there for any of our players that made sense for us in terms of moving this organization forward. So we didn't do anything. That could change come the summer. It could be something that's worked on into next year.
There's a sense, Dave, that there would be more value in the summer for those types of players?
Well, I think bigger contracts generally move in the off season. That's the way that is now, and I think that's the way it's always going to be in the cap era. But again, we're going to move players based on the ability to make our team better. It's not a fire sale. There isn't a date. We didn't go out and try to move a bunch of people today. All we did was say we were open for business to see if there are fits to make us better. And to me, there's a big distinction between trying to move somebody and willing to move somebody. And we're in the spot now where we're willing to look at options, but we're not trying to push people out.
Do you feel like there might be some relief now in the room now that this is gone? We've talked about it for so long, and moves have been made the last couple of weeks now.
I think that's generally the case after the deadline. I think regardless of where you are and in the standings, for players that are on teams that are contending that don't get moved and they're still with those teams, I think there's a sense of relief. And I think even in our situation, players are looking to see if their lives are going to be turned upside down a little bit. There's family issues, there playing issues. So I think after you get past the deadline, there usually is a sense of relief, regardless of where you are in the standings.
Dave, so when you go to Florida and you meet with the team, what's going to be your message for the rest of the season?
I'll leave that for my conversation with the team.
Is it possible to change the complexion of your team to your satisfaction without moving all of your core pieces? Maybe
Sure.
hang on to one or two?
No question. The notion that the players that we have here aren't quality players, or these aren't players that are wanted or desired by other teams is nonsense. I know from the number of calls that I've had and discussions I've had with other teams that only lives in print and on radio and television. It's not in the NHL, and it's not with other clubs. So could we see a number of these players back? No question we could. Would we move some of them if we get better and we accomplish some of our goals moving forward? Yes. But again, it's not a situation where everyone has to go, and there is not a time frame or a date that things have to be completed by.
Did you get a chance to talk to Jokinen after?
Yes.
What was his mindset?
Good. Yeah, he's happy. And Ole, I promised him when we traded for him that I would try to find him a spot on a contending team. You know, we asked him to come here and play as hard as he could and to put himself in a spot where teams would look at him favorably. He did that. And so I think he's excited to go there and have a chance to play and have a chance to win a cup. It's a very good team he went to.
And also, there was no concern about what happened yesterday.
You know what, I'm not talking about any deals that aren't completed yet, so happy to talk about Ole, or anything prior, but that's it.
Hey, what would you expect from the team over the final 19 games with the playoffs basically out of reach, and now that they've got this relief of the deadline behind them, what would you expect to see from them the rest of the season?
Well, a couple things. I think you want your young players to grow and to continue to be put in situations where they can improve. And you want your veteran players to take this seriously. I mean, we have 19 games to play. We need to compete in all those. You know, the record's going to be what it is, but we want them to play as hard as they can, regardless of the situation we put them in. We may ask some of our veterans to do some things that they're not used to doing or play with people that they haven't played with regularly. So it might be a different stretch run for some of them, but we want them to act professionally and to finish the season as professionals.
One more, guys. Dave, there's draft lottery right now. I think there's a 10% chance. With the possibility of drafting as good a player as McDavid is, does that kind of inform what you're willing to do at this point? I mean, if a player like of that quality comes into your roster, does it change the kind of team you want to put around?
And I'm not sure if I understand your question. I apologize.
It wasn't a great one. You know, the possibility of where your team could end up in the draft lottery, is that something you wanted to see before you made major moves?
No, we're going to finish where we finish. We would make moves, like I said, we would have made moves today if we thought it would have helped us in terms of our long-term health. But where we finish this year and where we are at the end and where we're going to be picking, whatever happens is going to happen, and we're going to be prepared for that.